Alright, YouTube, it's time for more adventures in Fundyland, more crazy end times nonsense bullcrap prophecies. The new one, this is like the fourth time since I've been on YouTube that one has been taken into the media, that the mainstream media starts reporting on it enough to justify making a video. I remember, like, the Mayan calendar, that was a big one. When that, I can't remember his name, that dude who had predicted the end times on a couple different dates, and Harold Camping. I think he's dead now. I think he had a stroke, didn't he? He didn't see that one coming, and he predicted the end times several times. Of course, asteroids, Ison, notably, and all sorts of things like that. The new one is that there's a pole reversal coming in 4 days. Jesus will return. He's going to kill everybody. Select group of very fundamentalist Zionistic Christians will be left, and that's all. It'll be, according to the Bible, it's 144,000 people. Essentially, after the second sort of period of struggle. There's a period of famine and struggle and pestilence and war under the Antichrist. Lots of people die. Everybody suffers for the most part. And then there's sort of the final war, and then 144,000 are left from the various tribes of Judah. And of course, the tribes of the Jews, that is, the 12 tribes. And of course, these individuals are Jewish individuals. They're not Christians. I find that very funny that Christians are thus calling for the end times and celebrating such things. The idea, though, of a pole reversal in the physical sense, it just doesn't make any sense at all. It also wouldn't actually collapse buildings and cause massive earthquakes. It could cause instability. It certainly fry all the electrical systems in the world. Beyond that, I don't think we haven't observed this particularly occurring elsewhere. The poles have never been stable anyway. That's probably the biggest point. If you monitor these things, you'll find that the magnetism of the Earth over time fluctuates greatly. As a result, it fluctuating a little bit more wouldn't even be an absolute pole reversal. So I'm not sure exactly what they're getting at. This is even weaker than sort of the Mayan calendar stuff, or the idea of a giant asteroid hitting Earth is very real. It could happen. More or less out of the blue, we can barely see the largest asteroids even coming. That could happen. A supervolcano could erupt tomorrow. At any time, a pandemic or World War III could break out. But the idea that some natural process made superstitious and spiritual by some end times fundamentalist is going to be responsible for the end of mankind, I just don't believe in such things. It's a natural process. No, it wouldn't cause the effects that some evangelicals think. It's like CERN. When I make the Mandela effect video, now everyone on there that disagrees is ranting about CERN. CERN simply performs the same processes present in the cosmos on a much smaller scale in an observable environment. That is, it can actually be measured. That's what CERN does. It's not doing anything outside of the laws of physics. It's not doing anything that isn't already happening in a black hole somewhere or in some supernova explosion. It's not. Particles collide all of the time by random chance at great speeds. It's just the way things work. The fact that we have built an apparatus to isolate them as much as possible from outside influences and direct their flow and observe the explosions that result from that doesn't mean that we're causing ripples in the space-time continuum by operating CERN or any other particle accelerator. It's just not sensible. You have to have at least a rudimentary understanding of common sense in order to determine these things. Happens all the time in the cosmos. Yeah, it's happening here in a very, very small scale. People often equate the energy of CERN to like the energy of a mosquito at certain speeds. You got to realize even a very small object traveling at an extraordinary near light speed rate does have a lot of force behind it. That being said, it's not the force required to create a black hole. It's not the force required to blow the Earth apart or cause a vacuum metastability event, well beyond our capacity at current levels to obtain. Maybe in the future, maybe we'll figure out a way to do these things, accelerate them more and more until they get past light speed, and then we can talk about the possibility of, a catastrophic explosion that leaves the surrounding region nothing more than a smoldering crater. As far as pole reversal, people have been predicting that for quite some time. People started talking about that again in 2012. They had been talking about it before that. The Zeitgeist era, I can remember people were talking about pole shift. The idea as well that the Earth was going to line up with the center of the galaxy and that would cause havoc didn't happen, of course. Every time they make these predictions, they just claim their calculations were off. They base it off some divine system. Because there are so many different numbers mentioned in the Bible, they can compile them together, add, subtract, multiply, and divide to get whatever they want as far as a date. So they can literally choose any date, and they'll be able to find some formula by which that date is borne out as the honest-to-goodness end times encoded, encrypted into the Bible for true believers to find out. And they do this for attention. And they'll get attention. Yahoo News will cover it. All these other, godlike productions. Alex Jones likes to talk about such things, and David Icke, and all these others. Even the mainstream media will at least mention it in passing. These people get, 100,000 extra YouTube viewers. As a result of that, most people shake their heads, chuckle, and move on. A few people, unfortunately, take the bait and believe it to be the case. But no, the world's not going to end on July 29th. And if it did, it wouldn't be because of a polar reversal. It'd be because coincidentally a massive asteroid or a supervolcano or a pandemic or something like that happens. Or Putin goes nuts, presses the little red button. Obama goes nuts and presses it. David Cameron decides, hell, I can't let UKIP take over the country, so I'm going to start a nuclear war with France or something like that. That's fun. Those are the things that can end the world of man. And even then, there'd be pockets of humanity left behind. Some isolated tribe somewhere would still be there. And then 1,000 years later, when they've developed the rudiments of technology and began to explore things, they would find all the ruins that we left behind, and they'd have to conduct archaeological digs on the ruins of Manhattan or Rutland or something like that, and then they'd find all this lost, forgotten knowledge, all these statues, a piece of twisted metal, be like, oh, look at how advanced these people were. It must have been Atlantis, something like that. That's what would end up happening. So no, I don't think the world's going to end in 4 days. I don't think you have too much to fucking worry about. That's about all. Peace out.